Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. As it says in the title, today we will talk about the Throne and Liberty technical test. So what is actually going on with the Throne and Liberty and technical beta testing, in which only a portion of players were given a chance to test it? MMORPG players creating multiple accounts in an attempt to get into beta that has an NDA. I will try to give my opinion based on what NCSoft did in the past. The test started on 19th of September and it will last until October 3rd at 7 PM. Ideally, the playtest will give Amazon and NCSoft the data and the feedback that they need to polish the game for its Western release next year. Now we already know that the game is announced to be released in December for Korean market. What we don't know is how different the game will look for the Western market in comparison with the Korean servers and the game itself. Since the game's release for the Korean market has already been decided, the game is ready for that region. The question is why we have an NDA test for the Western market. From what we saw with the first public beta test that revealed a feature of auto hunting called astral farming, the game had a horrible review and people already started calling it a dead game before it even had a chance to get released. What followed next is that developers promised to listen to MMORPG player community and they swiftly announced an upcoming test in which auto farming will not be available. And shortly after that they announced that it's being totally removed from the game. This followed a video in which they showed pretty much everything that players have been complaining about. Using skills and auto attack while moving, no auto farming, and reducing the difficulty of leveling and progression itself. Now what everyone needs to be aware of it, that NCSoft games are in 99% of cases are pay to win. Regarding this subject, they were not specific, but we for sure have seen plenty of ways how this game could split rich from the poor. Unless it will be limited to season pass and appearance like armor skins or various pets with no special skills but only for the look itself, we might have a problem. So why should we be concerned? As I mentioned earlier, NCSoft has often announced that games that never ended up being released or they shifted it into a different game. Back in 2011, we had mentions of Lineage 3, but what we ended up with was a total change of the already existing game Lineage 2, which received a new chronicle called Goddess of Destruction. Huge changes in level, classes, it was a crossroad of the game, and they should have just simply named it Lineage 3, but instead they lost a lot of players who were fans of the previous game model. Now why I know is that they were aware of their mistake. It's the fact that they released a classic version of the game a few years later. Just so you know, this was way before World of Warcraft announced a classic WoW, so the idea wasn't picked up from the Blizzard, but simply from the Lineage 2 community being unhappy with what NCSoft was doing with the game. Not long after that, they introduced the mobile versions of the Lineage franchise, in which they earned 10 times more than they ever did with the PC version combined. And guess why? Well, because as with almost every other mobile game, it was pay to win. Now let's get back to Throne and Liberty subject. The original title for the game was Project TL, also known as Lineage 3 or Lineage Eternal, and the Project Lineage has been rebranded as Throne and Liberty. The game was revamped and remade, and I believe the developers eventually lost the sight of their initial version of the game. With this being said, we can pretty much explain why the technical test that started on 19 September has an NDA and why it was so limited and so many players could not enter it. You're still not sure why? Well, imagine that the changes that developers did ended up having another bad review from the public. What do you think will happen to the game attempting to release for the Western market? With so many MMORPG titles being announced to be released in 2024, NCSoft cannot risk another public bad review. I do believe they are capable of delivering a great game, and if Amazon as a publisher can deliver a similar type of monetization as they did for A New World, we could be looking at a great game. There is much more to be said on this subject, but for now, think about this and let me know in the comments what you think will happen with the game. Thank you for watching, and if you would like to support my channel, subscribe, like and share. See ya!